Hello, Sunday again. We talk about things, and my good friend Igor, you might know Igor, suggested a good topic, and then suggested a good friend of his to join into the topic, and I think it's relevant. And it's relevant to not the sponsor today. Why not the sponsor? Well, you saw Very Nice Guitars at the beginning of the video, but I have actually finished my obligation to Very Nice Guitars. So we're really done with the whole Very Nice Guitars sponsored these videos. But the thing is, what we're talking about today is really relevant to Very Nice Guitars. So I decided to do another sponsored spot, unpaid, for Very Nice Guitars, because you know what? They sell very nice guitars. What is Very Nice Guitars? They are from Poland, and they are used guitar shop. If you've seen these Sunday videos, you know this by now. And they focus on the hyper modern 6, 7, 8 string fan fret, really pretty Mayonnaise, Gavison, Strandberg, and so whatever. If you're looking for your, vintage Strat, fuck that. They don't do that. They do, modern high gain machines. And it's a very specific shop doing that. And you can buy and sell used guitars there in a very nice quality range. So, but this is not sponsored actually by Very Nice Guitars, but I mentioned them because Very Nice Guitars will be at the Some Guitar Show, Krakow, Poland. We also have strings here show. I don't even know what it's called, but I'm going there. And why am I telling you this? Because I got Adrian here who is putting on the show. Right?
That's correct.
We're going to talk about trade shows in general, because otherwise this would just be a shameless plug for his guitar trade show, which it is. But we'll talk about, but we'll talk about trade shows. So Igor said, hey, talk about trade shows and then talk about the Polish thing. So hello, Adrian.
Hello, Henrik.
We are talking about trade shows, and let's get there right away. You are putting one on in Krakow?
That's correct.
In Poland, and for how many years now?
That's the second edition. So we did the very first run last year. It went extremely good. It's an independent thing. So there is no one, behind us. There is no sponsor. There are no sponsors, no stores, no one except for me and my fiancée and soon to be wife. So but
you have a store, right?
Yeah. But that's the misconception because the store, first of all, the store is in the same city as Very Nice Guitars, so shout out to them. We have similar, although a bit different profiles to that. So the store and the PGF, Poland Guitar Fest, are two completely separate things.
That's what it's called, by the way, Poland Guitar Fest string Krakow thing.
Except the string Krakow, then it's correct. Yeah.
So Poland Guitar Fest.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's it's for me. It's particularly important to have this name, at least straight in the space out there, because first of all, it's not Polish Guitar Fest. So it's not for Polish people with Polish brands and stuff. So we started in the first edition when we had mostly Polish brand, and we are extremely grateful for them that they supported us in our first edition. But since the beginning, we wanted to be, based in Poland. We are here and we want to change this part of the market, or we want to show something new to this part of the market. But it's not only for Polish people, for Polish brands, it's here, it's local here, but we want to be broader, right? We want to be open to Germany, Czech, Ukraine. Igor and Valiant these guys are from Ukraine, right? We've had some brands coming from UK in the first edition. Now we have many more from outside. So Poland Guitar, of course, Fest, because it's not only a trade show, but it's a festival of guitar as a thing, a store thing, right?
So you also have workshops and other things.
Yeah. So that's the thing, that we don't want to be too focused on different things. We want to be centered around brands, right? So for us, the brands, the boutique stuff, the boutique approach is in the center. So we are not so focused around the artists and concerts and, additional things. Although we have great people coming, Larry Mitchell, Matthias Eklund. We have the concert of Eric Steckel and Steckel, I think. Larry Mitchell, and we have some workshops, additional workshops, but everything should be around the guitar as an instrument, right? Guitars, basses, gears, this kind of stuff. So we don't want to overwhelm people with the performances and all the additional things. We want it to be about brands, this, special, guys that bring something new, right?
The first big misconception that I also fell into was that in Poland you would have budget brands. And I highly apologize for being naive and dumb and not knowing what happened to the Eastern European, which, by the way, they call Central Europe, which we could have, a nice argument about. I'm going to say that, Germany is Central Europe, but apparently, Czech and Poland is Central Europe, but up for debate. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
But I wrongly, and I'm gonna say that's not racist, but is it xenophobic? I don't know. But in my head, Eastern Bloc, or what used to be Eastern Bloc, was always that's so evil to say, but a poorer or more low budget area. I mean, when I started out making videos, viewers in Poland could not afford higher end things, and something like Joyo, Chinese pedals, that was, Xantip did Joyo as well, catering to that more budget market. And somehow that always stuck in my head, wrongfully, that your customers would be buying on a more budget-friendly level, which of course is still there in every country. We're looking for bargains, but I didn't see Poland as a place, or Czech as a place where you are trading in very high-end boutique instruments. And your shop, what's the name of your shop?
The name's String Taste. Yeah, the name's
String Taste.
Yeah, String Taste. You
are definitely dealing in the highest of the high end, right?
Yeah. So that's I don't want it to be. Again, I don't want to be too much concerned about String Taste here, because this is what we do, on a regular basis, how it started for us as at a connection point with these kind of brands. For me personally, always it was about the more interesting brands, and I was a nerd that was, more into unknown brands, right? When I started, when I was playing my, wedding band times, I got a Parker. So it was a very strange guitar, right? Parker Classic, the, half carbon composite, whatever guitar, very lightweight, very strange. So yeah, not to diverge too much. Yeah, Poland's changed, it's if you look at if you look at the kind of economic charts and how it's been going since the transformation, so if we talk about the West-East division and, the wall collapsing and opening, the collapse of communism and transformation as a whole, since the 1989 or 1990 to today, it's been 36 years, right? And the growth of at least Poland is exceptional, right? Some other countries like Estonia, Latvia, you have a lot of startups, a lot of IT hubs, the technology is here. So, it's changed. So it's not that you are, stupid to think that Poland has been like this. You are more ignorant, I would say. And I think...
100%.
Yeah. So I want to say that, many people didn't look at this part of Europe as something interesting, maybe, right? And it's been changing since this 1990 or, maybe last 10, 15 years. And one brand to call here is Mayonnaise, for example. Everyone knows Mayonnaise, right? You know Mayonnaise.
Oh yeah, and that's, some of the nicest guitars you can possibly get.
Yeah, and for us, I don't know, 20 years ago, they were very strange and they were unobtainable. They were expensive back then, even though they cost half of the third of the price that they cost now. They've been in the stores. They were set use, reg use, this kind of, models. You had guys from Pain of Salvation using them or this kind of thing. Yeah. And they faced toward West. and I spoke to these guys, and I understand why this happened. But now even mayonnaise is coming to PGF, which I'm really happy about. That shows a trend, right? So we are not only Poland, Czech, Ukraine, like even further to the east, or Slovakia, Hungary. We are no longer like kind of poor cousins, right? But we are growing markets which have something interesting going on in terms of gear that is being made here, and also interesting customers, like people who look for boutique stuff. Sometimes people here order really interesting custom-made guitars for a substantial amount of money. So that's what I'm saying, that it's not about Poland being sort of island here, right? But it's all about the economic trend. West is going different dynamic, and this East is going with different dynamics right now, right?
I mean, that's, I talked to Mario from Troop Workshop, who is also coming to the show. And he said for him, this is a market that he's definitely interested in, because money is being spent on gear. Money is being spent on high-end gear, on boutique gear. There's a respect for the boutique gear. And for him, as a one-man show, making amps, it's a market that he has to tap into, because other markets like the US, for example, or primarily the US, because of tariffs and everything and shipping cost, it just doesn't work at the moment. Things might change, but tapping into your markets definitely is relevant to someone like him. And I find it super interesting that you're also have some, not, I wouldn't say major US brands, but some very respected, very boutique US brands like Tyler, like Novo. They're coming, and this is all, we're talking very high-end guitars, very nice guitars, but definitely very high-end in a price range that, honestly, where I wouldn't, buy guitars if I wasn't working with those companies. But interesting, you're right that Estonia, Latvia, those countries are not, at least from my point of view, or my naive, ignorant, and I think that's definitely the right word, those countries have evolved. I think, is it Latvia, Game Changer Audio, there's SonarWorks.
Yeah, they are coming actually. So the one of the distributors, and I really don't want to mess up the name, so I will just pause here. Rock something. I'm sorry, I don't remember all the guys that are coming, but they are super nice. They are bringing very interesting brands. For example, Game Changer Audio with these strange pedals with some strange things going inside. I don't even know what that is.
They make weird things, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super clever. You have to really work to understand what it does. But I mean, they definitely never do the same boring thing. But those countries, to me, were definitely economically, in my head, not where Poland was. And it might just be because, we're neighbors, we're German. There's so many stereotypes. And unless someone comes and either kicks you in the nuts and says, don't be an idiot, or if you've actually experienced the country. And I've never been to Poland, not once. So that's going to be my very first trip. Never been to Poland.
Know that.
And that actually is just the thing. You have to freaking, go and not go with what you think about a certain country. I visited Furch guitars in the Czech Republic, and driving through there, because I took the car, my mind was blown, not just how beautiful the country is, but how developed. I mean, we know we have beautiful roads in Germany, but we got nothing on the Czech Republic. It's such a clean, absolutely beautifully well-kept country. From the mall that I was in to the city, everything was just absolutely gorgeous. And I think we are still holding on to a lot of ideas we had about certain countries, which are just not true anymore. And so really my mind was blown when we first talked and said, well, you're selling Novo, you're selling Tyler guitars. And that was definitely a disconnect for me. Wait a second, you're selling these in Poland, which is just, as you said, and that's really the right word, a very ignorant way that I had seen the world. And so I'm really happy to be wrong and to come and see the city, and I'm staying a day longer to just see because it's always when you go to these trade shows. I was just in Birmingham, and you go to these trade shows, you're in your hotel, you're at the trade show, and then you go home, you have seen fuck all. Right? And that's stupid. So I'm staying a day longer, just at least to walk around the city a bit and take something in. I'm really looking forward to that. Dates. When's the show? Just in case someone wants to jump in the car, if you guys are in Berlin, Prague, anywhere in the drivable area or flyable area, I'm flying in.
Yep, not far. 25th, 26th of April. So as we speak, it's, I don't know, 2-3 weeks from the date. So 25th and 26th of April. 2 days full of gear. You can really, we are in a very close to the city center, but in a sort of like quiet area. Also, the venue that we chose is very, it's a conference center. So it's not like expo hall. So it's more like it's designed to be more boutique experience. You should be able to, withstand 2 days of that and not go deaf or not suffer with headaches.
I was just going to say, let's talk about this because let's talk about trade shows in general. I mean, the big trade shows, I think they're dead. Frankfurt failed. Frankfurt was absolutely enormous. I've been there most of my life. In the beginning of the career of my YouTube channel, the show was still there, but it was already kind of withering away because they wanted too much money. You wanted an outlet, that cost money. You wanted carpet, oh my God, that cost money. You wanted a tablecloth, could barely afford it. I mean, the prices were ridiculous. And then during the show, the cheapest, horrible hotels were priced ridiculously. Everything for a company cost way too much money. And I also think that shows where you have all instruments represented, yes, they're very, very, very big, but depending on the customers and the buyers, like you as a shop, the fact that there's trumpets and pianos and drums isn't relevant to you. That it doesn't give you any added value. And to a shop like Thomann, for example, if Hans Thomann goes, okay, he can see all of his business contacts, but as individual buyers, I think they'd be much better advised to go to a guitar trade show, a drum trade show, because the drum buyer at NAMM, for example, isn't interested in any of the guitars. So the fact that it's a trade show that encompasses all instruments doesn't hold any added value to the customers who are interested in their instrument, to the buyers who are interested in their department. And these big trade shows are just so much harder to organize, huge venues to the visitors. They are draining because they're way too big, they're way too loud, especially anything with drums. So I think NAMM is on the way bye-bye. I wasn't there this year, but it just doesn't really feel like there's a lot, especially for guitar, happening anymore. Frankfurt dead. Shanghai is still a thing. Have you ever been there?
Nope.
One of the worst loud places in the world. I've never heard that much volume ever.
Wait until you hear the main square in Krakow in the night. You're not staying there, but just go there to see. I'm just kidding. But
really, Shanghai is physically dangerously loud. You could sit to someone I could sit right next to you on the couch and I could scream in your ear. You wouldn't hear me. We'd have to text.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So with trade shows like Guitar Summit, which is really great, they really, I think, created something special there. There are shows that are quiet shows. So how are you treating that?
Yeah, so that's a point. So just to start with it, it's for me, let's call it a trade show, but PGF is a place for connections, right? So if you are like me, like few years ago, before we started the first store was called actually Harry's Guitar Boutique. Then we changed to String Taste. But before we started the boutique store, my biggest dream was just to try James Tyler guitar. Like that was my dream, you know. I just wanted to find some. There was none here. So I bet that there are people out there similar to me, and still there are instruments that they haven't tried. But just for me, it's this, like, I want to go and try an instrument that I always dreamt of, or I just want to go and be disappointed, like it's not worth the money, you know. But you cannot do it when everything around you is a spinning tornado, right? So, so we have a sort of hybrid approach. There are rooms, there is the foyer, the big room, which is completely silent. There are 2 additional rooms, which are hybrid, which is, okay, there is some quiet playing allowed, but we will be monitoring the loudness, and we will be, you know, slapping if someone is playing too loud, and there are quiet times, right? So we will do 50-50, some playing and quiet to reset. And there is amp room, which will be completely isolated, so it will be louder, right? Something similar, I think, was in the Summit. So that's the area where if you want to try the amps, or maybe you want to try something louder, here's the designated area and you can go and try. Because, you know, I think we will be there for a few days, and we don't want to go crazy. Exhibitors complain when it's too loud. It's unpleasant. You know, it's dangerous. Like, you know, there will be kids, people coming with kids. We don't want, you know, especially to the young ones, something happens to the young ones. So we are super mindful. This is our first thing, for it to be, you know, pleasurable for you, because, you know, who wants to try a great guitar, which, you know, you cannot hear what's going on, right?
I mean, the Birmingham show that I was just at did 30 minutes loud and 30 minutes quiet. And the difference was almost not there. People weren't really paying attention to it. They went around and they had like horns, and when the horns were, it was supposed to be quiet. It was stressful for 2 days. It was too loud. It's just all this sound pressure coming at you is annoying. And you can't build relationships or even friendships when you have to yell at someone. I mean, people were trying to make deals with me and talking about videos we were supposed to do. I still don't know what we talked about. I have no idea. I nodded, you know, and that shouldn't be the case. Like, I like the idea of you have a quiet room, and just like in Mannheim, you have an amp room. If someone wants to crank shit up, that's not for talking, that's for going and playing, you know, at volume. That's fine, but have that separate, have that somewhere. Yep. And nowadays, there are so many absolutely amazing
devices,
DI solutions and load boxes. If you want to try an amp, have that. You know, any amp manufacturer can be asked to have a load box and an IR loader and whatever it is, and they can pick exactly the one that they think sounds like their amp. And if someone really says, you know what, but that doesn't give me the feeling of moving air, okay, then send them to the amp room. But on the main floor, it should be about relationships.
Yep.
And if you tell me the specs of the guitar and I can't hear the specs of the guitar, what's the point?
Yes. I agree, fully agree. So, I think it's, you know, I am not gonna, you know, try and say that we have figured it out, because it's not so easy to figure everything out. Like, there is no, you know, easy way to balance out the, you know, the pleasure coming from, you know, loud amp blowing into your face, and this sort of conversational volume, because you also have the scale, right? So I think what helps in our case is that we have sub rooms, right? So we don't have one big area where everything is open, but we have sub rooms where we can sort of manage it easier. And I really try to stay close with the exhibitors and always talk to them, explain them everything, you know, make sure that they understood everything. And we will be there all the time, as well as volunteers, as well as you know, the staff, security and whatever. So hopefully we will manage it better. I want it to be the number one priority, because I've heard it everywhere. Too loud. I don't want it to happen, you know. If it happens, then I will have to figure out on spot what to do, right? Maybe we'll just disconnect electricity and reset. No, I'm kidding, right? But yeah, I take it seriously. I think this is the number one thing. It's never going to be a store experience, right? It's supposed to be a touch point for you to understand whether you want to try SKG, or Valiant, or Tyler, or Dagon, or maybe these pedals or that pedals and whatnot. But it's all about the awareness, especially for the brands, that first of all, they are not competitors, so they don't have to shout over each other. Because if you are say Tyler or a Valiant, your competitor is not Novo, right? Your competitor is Fender or Gibson. I'm sorry for that. I appreciate what they did, but this is mass market, right? As well as PRS, guitars that people consider, boutique, but they are sort of mass produced and they are, big brands. So this is kind of your competitor, right? These brands are not there, not even in PGF, right? So I don't care for that. But I care for your brand. If you are coming to my event or our event, I care for your brand to, be visible in 100% or 90%, as good as it can be, right? This is the thing, right? So we need to make this experience together pleasurable for everyone, right? And enjoyable. And hopefully we will manage to do it. I'm 100% focused on that. I assure you.
Have you been to many other shows to just collect ideas?
Yeah, so of course Summit. We've been to Summit. That's a great thing. We spoke to many people. That was great. It's a big event already, so we've gathered some ideas. Some we like, some we didn't like. What I like in Summit is the overall, sort of interior of this place. At least the last year, it's not an expo area. It's not bare white walls and UV light and whatever. Like it's more pleasurable. The first guitar show I've been was London Guitar Show. I think it was, 3 years back or something. It was very nice. It was in some horse track building. I don't even know where that was, but it was cool. It was kind of cool. It was there were 2 floors with gear, and they were also managing this way, like on off, quiet, loud. So both floors were quiet and loud with this, and they sort of managed to do it. They were, persistent enough to put everyone quiet at some point. So that was cool. Everyone was switching. Maybe it's just, they were so, they had the routine or whatever, but they were very respectful for that. And I spoke to two guys from Australia, and now kill me which one. My memory is great, but short. So nevertheless, guys that are organizing this similar thing in Australia, and I also gathered ideas from them. They also helped me. So it's kind of hybrid thing. I never really cared much for NAMM, and I agree with you. Right now, I'm not 100% sure why European, especially smaller European brands, even invest money in going into NAMM. With all the things that are happening there, which we don't want to comment that much, but with the market that we have here and the potential. But, for me, it's like, this is education, right? You need to educate people here. It's not about money. It's about people being aware that brands that are not called Fender or Gibson are also worth the money. They put the money in the IP, in the development, in everything, paying people fairly, and so on and so forth. So that's why I think there is at least I don't know about any other event like this. People sometimes mention Holy Grail. Do you know this one? There was something like this in Berlin, I think.
I've never been to the Holy Grail show, and they don't do it anymore, as far as I know.
Yeah, so I think that was mentioned when they were comparing PGF, but yeah, that's pretty much it as far as my experience.
It's interesting that every one of those guitar shows, if we don't talk about trade shows in general, but guitar shows, feels very different. They all have a very unique flair, and even if you go several years, that flair stays the same. So I'm very curious to see what you've created and how that feels. Obviously, the location is part of it, but I've been to Montreux a couple of times, and that's in the the casino that burned down, smoke on the water. It's location-wise probably some of the nicest locations you can have. It's in Montreux, Switzerland, but it's in one big room, and it feels. I mean, it's the economy. It's Switzerland. They make a lot of money in Switzerland, but everything is also very expensive in Switzerland. And then what you have what you have in the trade show is quite a few Swiss builders. And the cheapest guitars you can even see there are probably starting at 3,500, which for Swiss customers, totally normal. That's like, let me buy a cheese sandwich. Oh, or this guitar. But the prices are very high just because of where the show is and who's presenting. And the Swiss builders have to ask those prices, which means they don't, yes, they have the Ibanez distributor from Switzerland there, and there's a couple of PRS, but those are all just shops, presenting. So if you're interested in meeting the people from the brand, there's none of that. We can see some guitars, that's good, but the guitars you can see are small builders, and they're all way up there. Even if they are unknown, just starting out. Oh, my guitar is 4,500. I'm like, oh, but really? So it's I don't want to say snobby show, but it's tough for them because of the location and who they're talking to and who is talking to do it any other way. And then Italy, the Padua show, I was there a couple times, a very different thing. Apparently in Italy, you cannot ask a lot of money for handmade guitars. And there's some absolutely amazing builders, Blackbeard guitars and Moyentale. They build stunning stuff, and they're like, $2,000 for this Strat. I'm like, what? How? How can you ask those prices? This is world class, top of the line. Like, well, Italians are not willing to pay a lot more. But then also at the show, you primarily see local builders that don't make it out of Italy. Right, so nobody outside of Italy actually knows of these builders because either they haven't established the marketing finesse to do it, or they don't have the budget to do it, and it's kind of sad. Then I've been to Paris, the show that Pierre Janel is involved with, and French. No offense to the French, but some offense to the French. The French are content when they have spoken to the French.
Okay.
So when a French builder or builder of amps or whatever, when they have done their website and it's in French, they're done. We have done our marketing. When they have videos on YouTube in French, we have done our job. Oh, we've got all these artists. They're all French artists that nobody else knows. Yeah, we're done. So the French seem to be very content when they have advertised and marketed to the people in France, and they do not in any way think outside of their borders. I was there, I made a couple of videos, Celt amps. I don't think anyone's ever heard of Celt amps outside of France. You? Yep.
Yeah, I did that. Okay.
How?
How? I just, this is Adam's Lee fault. Adam, it's your fault. So, I'm thanks to Adam Lee, and, big greetings to him. He is an avid, advocate for boutique amps, at least on my side of Facebook, right? And I've heard about AMS, Celt, some other Invaders, right? I think they are French as well, or Belgian, right?
They're Belgian.
So I didn't try these amps, but if you give me a chance, or they say, hey, we are coming, sadly, so far they didn't confirm. So maybe next year. But if you tell me they're coming, I'm gonna go and see it. So I think we are also, not to interrupt your flow, but I think we are also guilty in Poland of the same thing. Either everything what's made in States is the best, or the real Stratocaster made by Fender is the best, or if you want to talk to me about Polish things, talk to me in Polish. It's like this kind of. We are partially xenophobic as a nation. Unfortunately, still we are not so open-minded. So that's why I think that we are, maybe still living in this ignorant market where it's either Fender, Gibson or whatever, or if you want something local, great, but I need to pay, like €1,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
Bro, the electricity.
Which is stupid, because the wood costs what it costs. The craftsmanship is the craftsmanship.
Yep.
Why should a Polish-made guitar, because it's made by Polish people in Poland, be less than any other guitar from anywhere else?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. If it's good, period.
Yeah, and who can decide for you if it's good or not? Only you can decide, right?
Yes.
We have local builders really like you will meet all of them, but you know I'm in general, I'm not very emotional person, but when I go to the Facebook group and I see I remember PS Guitar Works, he's one of the guys coming, and he's posting his guitar, beautiful Strat. I don't know how it plays, but I never tried one. It can be great or not, but I never tried one. I see a beautiful Strat. I don't see any flaws in the pictures. He's asking, I don't remember, like maybe 2,200 euro, something like this, for a beautifully handmade Strat. And 90% of the comments are not even, a questions, why so expensive or whatever. They are rude, like plain rude, like who the hell are you? Or where is this guitar from which barn? Like, this kind of narrative. And I'm like, why we are so rude to each other? Like, if you don't like the guitar, you don't want to pay, that's okay, but just don't open your mouth. Like, you don't have right.
Guitar players are rude, opinionated. I mean, if I don't like the guitar you play, I gotta tell you in your face that you're an asshole because you have the wrong guitar and only Explorers are the best. I mean, guitar players are honestly not very polite people.
No.
I've been reading comments for over 10 years. There are definitely other hobbies, let's call it that, where people are kinder to each other. I don't know about the model train community and how hateful they are, but I have no idea. But in the guitar community, if I don't, your sound is total shit, and then 17 other people are saying it's the best sound I've ever heard. It's super, super divided. And you know what? Honestly, none of it matters. It's guitar. Play it, hang it on the wall, repaint it, record with it, don't record with it, play in your cover band badly, who cares? It's about fun. And all this hate and my sound is the best and your sound's shit and the way that I mic the caps, the only way to do it, and you have to mic a cap, you can't go direct, and you can, all this in modelers versus amps, oh my God. Like, just have fun with it. All this negativity and opinionating is taking the fun out of it big time. It's supposed to be about having fun with the instrument, not telling you how to have more or less fun. Like, do whatever.
I will tell you, like, when we organized the first edition of Poland Guitar Fest, and we were posting, like, just information in some guitar groups or here and there. Just we didn't go to the press and we didn't pay for the ads. We didn't have money. Like, we still don't have any money, from the show or whatever. We are trying to make the mathematics, but. I saw a video like 2 days before the show. I was shopping, with the shopping cart in some like store to get the water for the exhibitors and some snacks or whatever. So we go through the day, and some guys like laying on his couch and recording this video. Like, I just learned that there is this Poland Guitar Fest, and they asked me to pay for the ticket. Who are they? Why should I pay? It should be free. Like, I was like shocked because.
What?
I don't know who you are. I don't care about you. Like, you are talking about me. You don't know me. I don't know you. I'm not opening your mouth. And the problem is, I think, Henning, is that we are guitar players in rooms in the internet, in bedrooms in the internet. You are a YouTube creator. If you go on stage and you play, you do this and that. If I go on stage, I play like this and like that. And I have balls to go on stage. You will have balls to go on stage. Some people have balls to, record albums. They are great players. But most of us, we are sitting at home discussing the guitar as an instrument in the internet. There is no bond, no community. There is no such thing as guitar community. It's only internet forums. We don't gather for jam sessions. We are not like, tinkering around guitars anymore together, but we are writing comments in the internet. And this is, sorry for the language, this is crazy. It shouldn't be like this, because then, it's word against word. You cannot compare it.
That's actually an amazing point you're making. You're making a very, very, very good point. All this guitar stuff, I've never thought about it. You're brilliant. There is no real life community.
No.
There might be, I go to my band and there's another guitar player, but there is no in Germany, we have something called Stammtisch. Do you know what that is?
Never
When
heard
old
of it.
guys or whatever, guys, people, not just guys, but generally guys, who have the same, who are in the same club. You know, my father-in-law does drag racing. So once a month they go and sit in a pub and at a big table and just have beers and meet and discuss their hobby.
Yeah.
And oftentimes they play cards, whatever. But it's a once a month meeting of like-minded people discussing. We don't do that. We don't meet, bring our guitars, and exchange setup tips, mod tips. There is, I mean, however, that's the one instance that I know of. There's a German pedalboard group called pedalboard.org on Facebook. They have over 16,000 members. It's all about pedals. A little bit of, hey, I got this to sell, but usually it's just discussions, very civil, right? Nicely moderated. And they have a meeting once in a while. I think it's primarily Hamburg, where, for example, they get together and everyone brings their clones and someone brings a real clone. And then all night they nerd out. I mean, please shoot me before I ever go to something like that. But they go to a stage and they shoot out clones for 5 hours and discuss all the little minutiae. And that is likely not a screaming match. That's a let's share together in learning about clones. And you're fully right. We don't have this. And the model train club Pfuffenhausen, you know, they probably meet once a month and just shoot the shit about model trains. There's many hobbies where people gather together. RC cars, they meet, there is RC planes. I don't know any other hobbies. I don't know. You know,
Airsoft, airsoft.
Masturbating Club Frankfurt. They probably meet and masturbate together. I have no
I
idea.
see that, you know, a lot of strange clubs out there. But yeah, but that's the thing, that internet, like, you know, they are saying that internet is already broken. And I agree with that, because I remember, you know, I'm not that old, but I remember times before internet in my village. And then we had, you know, the first internet connection. And when I moved to the city or whatever, and how the internet was next to me. And now internet is in front of me. I cannot do anything without internet. Like, even if I want to try a guitar or something, I will not go to any club, like guitar club, and ask, hey, does any one of you have this or that guitar? Or do you know this, you know, pickup brand or whatever? I'll just go and try in the internet. And in the internet, there's so much information that we are not capable of. And I think first thing is ego, because I need to be the most knowledgeable guy in the internet. I mean, I know something about something, and, you know, and that's it. And I don't know everything about everything. But Polish people are, you know, world-class champion in having opinion about everything. So every time we have
well, that's everyone.
Yeah. but yeah,
you know what? This
happen.
is what you said it's so brilliant. We should start something, because it doesn't exist. You're right. This is a pure internet community. Yeah. Like, you at your shop, you could have a monthly meeting. Anyone who wants to come, and everyone brings some drinks, whatever. 4 hours open house, come hang, bring your new guitar.
But that happens. I mean,
you know what? Even just that, if there's 15 guitar players showing up and they're all bringing their favorite instrument, I have a chance to play 15 guitars or 14 that I wouldn't have had a chance to play.
Yes.
Without going to a shop, all that.
That happens, actually. In String Days, we've had some sessions, monthly sessions, like regarding setup, or, you know, pickup, how the pickup is built. And we've had these meetings, and we have some jam sessions where you can try some of our guitars. Like, we are not keeping them in the closet, right? We are planning something for May with Red 7. So hopefully that happens. So String Days is for that. String Days is a place for community, if you are interested. So maybe our thing should be to invest more in this community and build it offline. But String Days also was born from this idea that, guitar is not an online thing. Guitar is an offline thing. Guitars, amps, effects, cables, picks, Rombo picks, right? You can come to us, try Rombo picks if you like them or not. Probably you know Rombo. Do you know Rombo? Like the pick makers? Oh man, they are German. I will give you some pack of that when you come, but you should check them out. They are German, amazing couple, making great picks, very innovative, and we have people from Germany buying a lot from us, right? Online. But the thing is that the offline is the only place where you can learn about instrument, gear, about other people, their hobbies, their observations. If it happens online, it's soulless, it's egotic, and it's in a large way, we are incapable of comprehending all of that. There's too much information. We are not machines that are, processing all this data, and you can go and ask Claude or ChatGPT, but for fuck's sake, sit for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, try to solve their pickups, change pickups, ask someone, talk to them. It will change your, word 180 degrees, because instead of saying words, comments, opinions, and reviews, or even YouTube, videos, you will start seeing instrument as it's meant to be for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I mean, I can only try to present things, but it's amazing how many people, and I see this in the comments, misunderstand what I say completely, misunderstand the functionality completely, and then ask questions like, how could you have asked this question? I said this in the video and I said the opposite, but it's, as you said, it's very easy to misunderstand, misconstrue, misinterpret, and I mean, I wouldn't say that it has to be always completely offline, because that's kind of my job. So shut up, Adrian. But no, you're right. Now I'm thinking, I mean, in the summer, I should do something like monthly meetings, set up a tent. We're not doing Gear Street this year. So set up a tent, do monthly meetings of anyone who wants to come.
Yeah.
Set up an amp or whatever, and have people get together and play each other's guitars, talk about their newest pedals, and just do a, 3-4 hour hang where we exchange what's new about our guitar life. And I could even turn this into content. I could have a camera, film bits and pieces of it, and then there's the highlights from the monthly meeting. But you're right, it is.
Yes, sir.
In our world, it's so much. There's playing in bands, which is not celebrating the guitar, it's playing in the band. And there's online, or there's going to a shop, but there's no monthly guitar meet, or even all these groups. They don't meet monthly, bring their newest amps, swap tubes, whatever. There's at least not that I'm in any way aware of anything like this happening.
And so I think, as you say, like, it shouldn't be completely offline, because you did your, we are still doing that, but we owe you, we owe you as guitarists for demos, for fun, for showing shitload of sounds and good stuff and bad stuff that we can like or dislike or whatever. I watched your videos a lot, and I liked most of them, and I would never say, hey, you should listen to Henning, and he's the, the source of truth, because source of truth is my own.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, of course. But still, this is the starting point, right? Okay, hey, Henning showed me, I don't know, tube workshop, right? Great amps. I want to try them. Hey, has anyone around me have TWS amps? I want to try them in real life. So, I sparked something in your head. I like that, and go for that. I will come. I will bring my own, I'm not drinking a beer, but juice. And I will come.
Yep. Same here. I don't drink beer, but you know what? I'm going to kick this around. That would be an easy thing to do, because of Gear Street. I've got all these, seats and tents and whatever, and doing this on a weekend once a month, starting in, I don't know, June, July, whatever. We'll see what happens. And maybe if I kick something off, they don't need me, they can do it somewhere else. But let's actually meet and hang and chat about guitars because we always do it online. And I know how much I can learn every time I meet with Perfecto de Castro. Perfecto knows guitars so well. I mean, I have a Tyler, love the thing, did not know how people use that mid boost because I actually cranked it up. And he's like, no. You turn it all the way down and you turn it on and then you have an active circuit. I'm like, like Perfecto just knows about, he just knows about the history of the guitar and what was what in what fenders, and he really is very, very, very knowledgeable and a great player and a good friend. But every time I actually hang out with him and there's a guitar in the room, I learned something I didn't know. And I'm sure I could learn from so many people that watch my channel that are like deep into the topic. So yeah, I'll see if I can make that happen, because you just opened my eye. We are not a community. We are individuals online that sometimes have the same opinion, but oftentimes have an opposing opinion.
Beautiful.
And then a community that gets together, actually gets together, everyone brings their new or favorite amp. Oh my God, 10 people in a room. What could they learn from each other? Do that in every city.
Yes.
Wow.
Then that's community.
Well, we're definitely, I mean, we got to cut this short now. We're definitely doing this in Krakow on the, wait, I remember, I know, I'm not calling up my calendar here at all. I'm really not. No, it's not, it's not, it's on, the 25th and 26th of April. That's, I knew this. I mean, I knew this by heart.
You just had to translate from Polish to German.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I do. And it's the Strings in Krakow Festival. No, the PGF.
Poland Guitar Fest. See, yeah.
Not Polish, Poland. Because it is not just Polish manufacturers.
Exactly.
People from actually anywhere. But I'm really curious to meet some of the Polish manufacturers. Yeah. And I think they should be optimistic that people will respect their craft, because when we look at Mayonnaise, I mean, it took a long time for Mayonnaise to go where they are now, but they're respected in the world. They sell guitars for very high value and most amazing guitars. They build really, really good shit. If they could do that, others can as well. And I think Mayonnaise's success story shows that Polish manufacturers can do great stuff, just like La Boga and others. People should not look at what actually anyone from anywhere. Everyone's like, oh, Chinese guitars, they should be crap. No.
Trust your ear, trust your fingers, trust yourself.
I'll be there. If you are somewhere in the area, come to Krakow on the 25th and 26th. Yep, 25th and 26th of April. What's the location called?
The location is called CKF 13, Centrum Konferencyjne Fabryczna. So it's like a conference center, but not that fancy. Just very nice place.
Obviously, you can check it out on their website. I'll link that below. And I'm going to say that's it for today. Thank you for your time, Adrian. And I'll say goodbye to you guys. Thank you for watching. And animals at the end.